Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny, Fruit Market Nodes app, Backend API Insight. Today need to develop this here, the admin item list API we need to develop here. Let's start how to write down inside the Node.js. First of all, we need to use this here, this inside we need to use this here, the Express members, as well as need to use this here, the socket IO for the real time. So need to give in some functionality. Purpose we need to use this here, the socket IO, like here the live trackings for the delivery. Need to use here the socket IO and to give this here to up to date data of the users need to providing delivery boy which place need to arrive, and like this showing inside the maps. We need to this functionality purpose we need to need this here the socket IO. Let's start. We need to today we need to create here the only one API for the item list API for the admin app. Need to create here. Now we need to write down here the slash API slash admins and to give this here the items list, and we need to create here the request and response objects functions callback. We need to like this write down here, and now need to write down here the helper dot delogs, and we need to request dot body we need to print here, and now need to save here the request objects inside the request body. Need to save these variables inside. Now need to check first of all the access tokens, so need to check here. Now need to give this here the request dot headers, so need to pass this here and give this here the response. If here valid, then to return this here the user object, so need to returning this here. If not valid, then to directly need to unauthorized access response need to server given this here, and terminate this here the API calls need to call here, and now need to require tabs need to pass this here the 3, and we need to item list inside the no needs here the checking here the parameters, so need to give this here the only list need to getting here. Now need to call this here the db dot query function, so need to write here inside. We need to SQL query we need to write here. Now need to go here, and we need to open this here the database fruit markets apps, and to open this here the item details tables. Now select here the select query you need to select here, and then after we need to copy this where conditions with all data need to put here, and now need to give this here the status is equal to not equal to 2 means here the not deleted, and we need to give this here the blank values and array and results given this here the query functions callbacks. So need to return this here like this value, and then after so need to write down here errors if found inside the returning this here the this query db dot query functions returning this here the errors, then to call this here the helper throw html errors and to return this callbacks error returns, as well as need to response also need to returns, and to returns and terminate these functions. If not gets any errors, then to found this here the results, then so need to returning this here the response dot JSONs, and we need to give this here the write downs here the status, and we need to set this here the one, and we need to write down here the message, not message, we need to write here the payload, and we need to give this here the results need to returning like this years, and need to get like this here the item list need to returning this years. If you here the modify this item list and to give this like here the parameter specific this categories value need to get here, then need to modify this API need to write down here helper dot deal check parameters valid functions need to give this here the response objects, and to pass this here the request objects. Then after need to check this here the specific key need to bounce inside the request objects. We need to check this here the main categories underscore id. We need to check here like this, and we need to set this here for this data. If you pass this here this value, we need to need this only this specific categories data we need to need, then to write down like these functions and to check this here the parameters. and to inside you need to paste this code, and we need to write down here the where conditions. Inside we need to give this here the main category id. Inside we need to pass this here the value question mark and end conditions, and also need to given this here the request object dots main categories id. Like this we need to pass this here and this data. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.